Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm excited to share with you just some things that I worked on this past week. This is essentially an afternoon or so in my life. It's mostly in the kitchen because that's what I was doing on this particular day. But I started out by getting the kids some lunch. We love doing grilled cheese. Now, typically I have, if you've watched my other videos, you've seen how I'll make a butter spread and that's soft and it's always ready to go. But I haven't done that recently, and so I was just using cold butter from the fridge. So that's why I just stuck it on the griddle and let that melt and then put the bread on top of it. Also, my mayonnaise. You guys, if you see me make mayonnaise, I don't know, the last time I made it, it just completely flopped. I mean, it didn't separate like it has in the past. Well, it did separate, but my mom had said just add an egg to it and that'll help. It'll thicken and stuff. So that's what I've been trying to use that up so I can make a fresh batch because it's supposed to be nice and thick. Once I had gotten them lunch, then it was on to prepping some fruit. Lately, I've been enjoying buying fruit when I pick up groceries and nothing like that fresh stuff. For some reason, I have a harder time with citrus. I kind of get heartburn from that or acid reflux being pregnant, but I've been really enjoying watermelon and cantaloupe and that kind of thing. And it's really fun for the kids too because I get to introduce them to it. I didn't used to buy it for the first couple years of our marriage because just my husband and myself, and he has a hard time. His stomach doesn't handle some of those fruits very well, and so it'd be up to me to eat a whole watermelon, and that would take me a very long time. But lately I've been enjoying sharing it with the kids, so that's been pretty fun. I was kind of multitasking at this point because it was lunchtime, so getting them their lunch, then cutting up watermelon, and then cleaning. This griddle was actually still hot, but I wanted to get it moved out of the way. So actually, I don't know, you probably won't notice it, but when I went to move it, I had it unplugged, but the very end where you plug in the attachment, I actually did burn my hand a little bit from one of the prongs. It was like, ouch, that hurt, but it wasn't too bad. Back to the cantaloupe, I was just chopping it up into kind of chunk-sized pieces. I don't know, I try to do it, try to keep from having the pieces too large, because to me there's nothing embarrassing than trying to I don't know, it's hard to eat cantaloupe in my mind if the pieces are massive, and it's kind of embarrassing, like you're trying to take a bite, but you can't eat the whole thing in one piece just because it's massive, you know what I mean? Maybe that's just me. I kind of have a thing when I'm eating out in public where you don't want to take massive bites. It just doesn't feel right. It's kind of awkward. I guess I've always been that way. But I tried to get these to a nice size, and then once that was done, then I threw them in the fridge to chill them for later. This watermelon was really nice. The one I got shortly after, another watermelon I got, it was really grainy. So I was really glad. This one was very, very nice. The consistency, what do you call it? The flesh on the inside? Anyways, it was really nice. And anyhow, it's always nice to be able to have fresh watermelon on hand, I feel like. So like I said earlier, we've just really, really been enjoying it. I don't recommend copying this style of cutting them. It's probably not the safest. In the moment I was like, let's just get this done. So unless you're super confident with knife skills, maybe don't copy me. But once again, I was trying to cut these fairly on the small side so they were easy for my kids to handle and just pleasant to take a bite from. So I just made myself a good girl named Giant, so now I'm gonna drink this while I make some chocolate granola and then some just like wheat thin crackers. So we'll see how they turn out. Hopefully they turn out good. This is pretty good. Next thing up, I came across a recipe for some chocolate granola, which I thought would be really fun to make. I had used up the granola that I had in the cupboard, and oh, I'm sorry guys, it's totally out of focus for this one. I'm not sure where I was focusing, the cabinet or something. Anyways, this turned out so good. Oh my word, it's a crossover, so just because of the combination of carbs and fats, but that's all right. And it was really, really easy to whip together. It didn't take me long at all. And just tasted really, really yummy. Actually, right after I made it, when my kids were up from their naps, my little guy wanted some. And so I made him a bowl. He had a couple bites, and then I guess he was full. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to eat it now, because it's kind of like leaving cereal out. You know, you don't just add milk to cereal and then, like, what do you do with it? Someone's got to eat it. But it worked out perfect because I needed to have a snack anyways. For the oil mixture, I used coconut oil, and then I used a mixture of super sweet for the sweetener, which I believe is like erythritol and stevia, and then I used some allulose, kind of just a mix of stuff. Then once that was melted, the point of it was just to get it to melt. Then I added my egg whites to the oats, actually, because I didn't want them to like cook in the coconut oil. So I first added that to the oats and then mixed that up. And then once the oil had cooled down a little bit, then that's when I added it to the mixture of oats. I probably didn't need to mix it up in the KitchenAid mixer, but it just seemed like the simplest way to do this. I think at this point I was getting kind of tired, and I was like, I need to get this done so I can lay down and take a nap. These days my energy is fairly limited, so I try to get done what I can while I have the energy, and then try not to push it too much. So I just went and dumped these onto 2 stainless steel pans. Are those stainless steel? One of them is nonstick. But I just dumped them onto the pans and spread them out. I was trying to do this in a fairly quickly amount of time. Whatever. I was just trying to make this as efficient as possible. So that's why I did 2 pans, so that way they wouldn't be as layered as thick. I could have just done 1, and then I probably would have clumps, I would imagine, of granola. I still kind of have clumps, but I just did the 2 pans. And then you'll see at one point I do switch them in the oven. I pull it out, stir it, and switch places just so that I don't have one pan like always on the bottom of the oven and one always on the top. I do know some people who like to add chocolate chips right at the very end while it's still on the pan, so that way it gets kind of melty. But, well, I'll just have to wait and tell you I'll let you see what I did here in a second. The next thing that I wanted to make were some just like wheat thin crackers. Now, typically you want to use golden flaxseed, but I didn't have any. I just had the regular dark stuff, which makes the cracker obviously look darker, but I think it still tastes great. And then, well, actually some people say it does have a slightly different flavor. I should try that sometime. Just go ahead and get some of the golden flaxseed. But then you just mix up all of your ingredients. This one was really fast to throw together, actually. It's just a lot of different containers you got to pull out, but then mix it up, add a little bit of oil. I heard one lady say that she added a little extra of all the spices. So you're supposed to do like a shake of onion, a shake of garlic, and I just tried to do it like a shake and a little extra. So they came out tasting really nice, really, really good. It's going to be great to have on hand for when I feel snacky or want to have just some crackers and some cheese or something like that. It doesn't make a huge batch, but it makes an appropriate amount, like enough to last for, I don't know, a week or two, a couple weeks, depending on how many you want to eat. The recipe for this one will also be in the description as well. It's another one of the Trim Healthy Mama recipes. After adding the baking soda, that was the last ingredient, then I put it on some wax paper to roll it out. It's not something that's very easy to work by hand. It's super sticky, so that's why I used the wax paper, just rolled it out. And then I didn't need to put it on 2 sheets, but I don't know, it just seemed easier at the moment to split it up. As you see, I guess it filled up a good bit of the wax paper. But I didn't want it to be too thick, which I figured I would be able to get a thinner roll if I did it like this. And then just carefully peeled off the top layer and then flipped it over onto my pan and then peeled off what was originally the bottom layer. And so that way I'm not putting the wax paper in the oven. I learned the hard way not to use wax paper in the oven. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, it will, kind of melt into your food because of the wax. Then I pulled out my handy dandy little cracker cutter. I hardly use this thing like ever. So it's one of those things I thought was really, really cool and was like, I'm not getting rid of that. I'm going to hang on to it. And so maybe once or twice a year I pull it out and use it. But it's just a small little gadget that I just like having on hand. At that point, the granola had finished, and so I grabbed out my coconut, and you just use plain unsweetened coconut and just mix that into it. I bet it would taste really good if I had just done the coconut in the oven, with the granola. I didn't really think about that. It'd be more of a toasted coconut. Might have to do that next time. Anyways, this was a super, super good granola. I'm thinking I might make a couple batches of it as we get closer to the burst, so that way got easy snacks, easy breakfasts. There's protein in this from the egg whites. Not a ton of protein, but you could add like yogurt to this when you eat it, and that would give you good protein. So anyways, I'm getting hungry just talking about this. There's always dishes to do. Dishes can be just I don't know, it can be, I find, like a huge deal, or there's times where it doesn't seem like it's a big deal at all. It's almost like all in the mindset. If I'm like thinking about how if I get the dishes done, then I won't have to do them later, it definitely is a big motivator. Whereas there are times where I definitely am not up to doing a ton of dishes, and I just need to let them be for now, and I'll have to deal with them later. But oftentimes I find it's much easier to rest and to take breaks when I know that the dishes are done. Maybe it's just me, but there's something about knowing that the sink is empty and everything's kind of tidied up. Even if there's dishes on the counter, I don't care. I'm not worrying about that right now. Like drying dishes and stuff, that's yeah, they can dry on the counter. I feel like it just helps me so much to have the sink emptied and the dishes all washed and caught up on. Keeps my brain from freaking out. You know, the other night, I don't remember what had happened, but there was just stuff everywhere. The kids were playing with things. The house was fairly clean a couple hours earlier, but within just a few short hours, there was just like this sense of overwhelm. There's stuff everywhere. And I couldn't believe how much it affected my mood. It was like I was tired, and then the house is a mess, and you're just like, what do you even do? Like, do you even try to clean it up, or just leave it till you get a sudden urge to clean up? Those moments are the hardest. Some people say these are the days that try men's souls. I feel like with mothering, these are the moments that are challenges. They're not all bad. Hard doesn't always equal bad. Anyways. Well, I think that's going to be it for today's video. I need to go get the dishwasher going and then lay down for a little nap before the kids wake up. I need to make sure I don't push it too hard today. I'm really feeling kind of worn out. So, thanks for hanging out with me. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next week with another video.